The term narcissism is frequently mentioned in casual conversations, but what does it truly mean? To demystify this often misunderstood concept, we are joined by clinical psychologist Je, who will help us explore what narcissism is and the impact that it has on individuals and their relationships. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
It's always a privilege. Thank you.
Now, this term is flown around everywhere these days, isn't it? He's a narcissist, she's a narcissist, they're a narcissistic couple. What does it actually mean? Can you break it down for us, Janine, in terms of the clinical, concept,
Yes.
A narcissistic personality disorder, and then the traits when it comes to narcissism?
Yes, I really am so happy that you've raised this because it is a big concern.
Yeah.
You see, we cannot just use this term haphazardly.
Yeah.
It causes a lot of distress because those people who actually go and experience this treatment, it kind of waters it down and it minimizes what they are going through. So, if somebody looks at themselves in the mirror often and they're quite superficial, that does not necessarily mean that they have a narcissistic personality disorder. So, look, when it comes to self-love, it's normal. We all have to have it. It's healthy to have self-love.
Yeah.
That's what gets us to actually educate ourselves further, present ourselves in a certain way. But it's the inordinate amount or degree of self-love. So when it comes to the disorder, personality disorder, it's pervasive. So you'll see this person will have certain characteristics in every context, work, home, every context they find themselves in, they will exhibit grandiosity, entitlement, manipulation, all sorts of really negative traits or symptoms that actually impacts on others quite drastically and negatively.
Okay, so basically what you're talking about is a disorder that is completely over the top. And I just want to reiterate once again that it's so important that we not use that word haphazardly because it's a big word on social media at the moment, and that one has to be clinically and professionally diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and for us not to use that word so flippantly.
Yes.
So when you say it is, it's really pervasive, what do you mean by that? So can you give us an example of what would be a characteristic or a behavior of someone that is narcissistic?
Okay, so the lack of empathy. Okay,
that's a big one.
Big one. That causes a lot of hurt because somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, they're very insensitive to anybody else's needs. In fact, they don't really care.
Okay.
And when they have relationships, it's normally transactional. They want to benefit from the relationship.
Okay.
And so this kind of creates a problem within a work environment. And of course, if somebody with narcissistic personality, if they have some authority, it even makes it worse. Because now they use that authority and they can manipulate, they criticize, they devalue. And because they are hypervigilant themselves to criticism, it creates a stalemate situation, and it really creates hurt for the person that's the recipient.
Yes. So I want to break this down. You said lack of empathy. Can we break that down just for a moment? What does that mean?
So I love, there was a layman's definition for empathy. It's feeling someone else's pain in your heart.
So being able to put yourself in someone else's position.
They don't have that ability. In fact, there's we call it an observing ego. So they don't understand, if I do this, this is how this person will feel. If I say this, this is how this person will feel. They don't have that ability. And so therapy, when these people, it's actually rare when they actually present for therapy. Normally the people around them will present for therapy.
Yes.
So when they, I always say they arrive at therapy by accident. It's normally to accompany a child or accompany a spouse. And when they do, it's very difficult for them to actually see their role in anything.
So, Janine, what is that? Is that is it a neural dysfunction? Is it a neural connection that's not wiring? Like, what is it? Because obviously it's serious.
It's very serious.
Someone's not trying to be narcissistic, right?
Look, there are developmental issues, like, it's been linked to insecure attachment, for example, where it's more the avoidant and anxious type of attachment.
Please break that down for us.
Okay. So, look, attachment has got to do with how you connect with your parents or your caregivers when you are young.
Growing up. Okay.
So if there was inconsistent parenting, for example, where the mother doesn't or the father does not attend to the child's emotional needs.
Okay.
That will be inconsistent,
Okay.
and that will lead to the child needing more affirmation, more validation,
Okay,
and
okay.
seeking that out to quite a severe
Okay.
degree.
So when you don't have that stable upbringing in the foundational phases of life, could manifest in a whole myriad of things, including narcissism.
Yes, it's important to note that not everybody who has an insecure attachment will develop narcissistic personality disorder, but certainly those are some of the causal factors.
Yes.
Also, temperament has a bearing. So if you think about a child with a very difficult temperament, it often what would happen, it would evoke insecurities within the parent to manage this child. They'll feel less confident, so they won't attend to the child's needs, but maybe be very punitive with the child. And then that child will then want to seek more validation and affirmation from other external means.
Okay.
But this is just touching the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
So at crucial developmental phases, the emotional needs of this particular person has not been met. Is another factor like trauma that can exacerbate these symptoms, but it is a lifelong development that creates or contributes to this personality disorder.
How does this impact relationships?
Cool. So if you just take what we spoke about, the sense of entitlement, the lack of empathy, and also people with narcissistic personality disorder, they struggle to form intimacy.
Okay.
So the partner can often feel rejected or belittled and devalued constantly. And obviously that will break down the partner's self-esteem, self-worth. And so it becomes really hurtful for people to have a relationship with somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. So remember, what constitutes it as a disorder is a pervasive pattern over a period of time. So a specific situation like just not like ignoring a need, that doesn't make that person narcissistic. Or if somebody's unfaithful, not all cheaters are narcissistic.
Yes.
So what's been happening is each and every time somebody's treated badly or with a lack of empathy, people have been labeling that person as narcissistic, which is not the proper definition of what narcissism is all about.
So in other words, it's challenging. It's challenging to be with someone that has that disorder.
When people, let me put it to you this way, when people eventually end up at my practice to seek help, the family members or the friends of these people, they are normally quite broken. They are physically, mentally, emotionally depleted because it takes a lot of effort to, try and appease somebody like this. They're constantly looking for this external validation and admiration. They also are very condescending, so nothing you do
is enough.
Janine,
thank you so much. What a fascinating topic.
It's my pleasure, Zoraida.
Understanding narcissism is crucial in fostering healthy relationships and enhancing psychological well-being. If you or someone is living with a narcissist, please stay tuned because later we'll discuss ways to cope. After the break, we'll chat about how to cope with the fear of the future.